You know, Trump is out there, like, creating this poetry. I want to read you something that Trump said today. And I want you to think of this as a totally new segment for the show. This is Poetry Time with Donald Trump. So, here is a poem by Donald Trump. We have an economy based on the wind. I never understood wind. I know windmills very much. I've studied it better than anyone. It's very expensive. You know, we have a world, right? So the world is tiny compared to the universe. Donald J. Trump. All right? So we got people like Donald Trump out there and J.D. Vance and low-rent Tucker Carlson, Jesse Waters from the Fox Propaganda News Network talking about Bob Woodward, calling him a hack. What did Trump ever do? He inherited a bunch of money. What did J.D. Vance ever do? Change his mind faster than anybody in the history of mankind? And Jesse Waters, his whole entire career is just based on lying. But what did Woodward do? In 1971, Woodward joined the Washington Post. In 1972, he began investigating the Watergate scandal with Carl Bernstein, and their reporting led to widespread public distrust in political institutions and exposed high-level government corruption. Their investigation contributes to President Richard Nixon's resignation, marking the first time a U.S. president resigned. In 1974, he published All the President's Men, again with Carl Bernstein, detailing the Watergate investigation. And this book establishes investigative journalism as a critical function of the press, and it inspires reforms such as the Freedom of Information Act. In 1976, he published The Final Days with Carl Bernstein, documenting Nixon's final months in office. And this solidified the public perception of Nixon's presidency as corrupt and secretive. In 1987, he published Veil, The Secret Wars of the CIA from 1981 to 1987, and he revealed covert activities of CIA Director William Casey, including involvement in the Iran-Contra affair. And then he published in 1989, The Commanders, which analyzed military and political decision-making during the Gulf War. And the first book led to a lot of debates about the lack of oversight in U.S. intelligence agencies. And the second book gave a really rare look into military power and political decisions that shape U.S. foreign policy. In 1994, he published The Agenda Inside the Clinton White House, chronicling Bill Clinton's early struggles to implement all of his legislative ideas. And then in 1996, he published The Choice, which focused on the 1996 presidential election between Clinton and Bob Dole. In 2002, he published Bush at War, and this work humanized the policy makers behind the war on terror, but it also raised early concerns about the long-term consequences of military intervention in Afghanistan and Iraq. And then he published Plan of Attack, and the book revealed the questionable intelligence used to justify the war in Iraq, and it contributed to the national debate over the legitimacy of U.S.'s involvement in Iraq. In 2006, he published State of Denial, which is a critical look at Bush's handling of the war in Iraq. And at the same time, that book is when the public perception of the war really shifts. It really shifts. This is when all those protests were happening. Then he publishes Obama's Wars, and he talks about how Obama handled Iraq and Afghanistan. 2012, he publishes The Price of Politics. In 2016, he publishes The Last of the President's Men. In 2020, he published Rage, which is about Donald Trump and includes journalism and investigations into Trump's early downplaying of COVID-19. And now he has a book coming out. Should be out next month, I believe. And this is a book filled with interviews with Donald Trump. So Trump always gets the best people. You know who every president wants to be there to write books about him, believe it or not, them? It's Bob Woodward. This is the guy who writes the books. This is the guy who interviews the presidents. And somebody like J.D. Vance coming along and calling this guy a hack? Come on. You got to be kidding me. So J.D. Vance, he can keep taking his orders from Trump. He can keep spewing whatever garbage his handlers feed him. And Bob Woodward can keep doing what he's been doing since the 70s, which is exposing corruption, holding the powerful accountable, and reminding America why the truth will always outlast lies. I had the exact same feelings when Trump was out there bad-talking McCain. These people don't have the right. They haven't shown the skill. They haven't shown the dedication. They haven't shown the public service. They don't deserve the right to be bad-mouthing people like this. Not these people. These are accomplished people who deserve respect for everything that they've done and achieved in their life, and more importantly, for the service that they've given to the public. But Donald Trump doesn't understand anything about serving others. Nothing at all.